This is the place where real dialogue matters.
Make some noise for that sound, man.
It is time to take flight with Audio Airstrike.
This is Audio Airstrike. I'm Everett Hall-McNeill. Thank you for joining us. Now, I'm here with a interesting guest. This is actually the first time that we're recording this. It's literally the first time we've met. So I did not have research on him. I haven't figured out who he is, but he has used his platform to talk about nutrition, creativity, and using his vlog to motivate people to be their better selves. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh is with us.
What's going on, folks? Josh Huff here, Samurai Huff on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I want to talk to you, man, because you were talking about nutrition and you were talking about how health is wealth. I wanted to kind of pick your brain, and I wanted to kind of talk with you about that for a second. I want to start with, how did you get your start with nutrition? How did you get your start with health? What opened your eyes to that? Because you being only, 23?
Yeah, 23.
23 years old. A lot of people really don't wait to take nutrition seriously until it's 30s.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true, until they have to.
Right.
Until they have to. There's a multitude of things that kind of opened my eyes to it. One, I was diagnosed with epilepsy in high school, so I've been working on my health on my own, trying to get off of medications that don't really suit me too well and cause me to have bad reactions to it, cause me to feel weaker and stuff of that sort. So I wanted to take my health into my own hands, and that kind of led me down the road of many people will tell you many different things, but what really is health? What constitutes that realm of being? And so the more I kept going into it, the more I was okay, there's working out. There's the typical stigmas, are you vegan? Stuff like that, just cutting out certain things. But in terms of nutrition, I started to really study herbs and things of that nature, and what foods really cause certain things and certain chemical reactions to happen within the body, because healthy gut, healthy brain, healthy heart, stuff of that nature. So yeah, that's kind of what started the journey. And the more I kept reading, the more I was okay, this makes sense. And then the more I started cutting out certain foods and just eating less or eating more of particular kinds of foods, I felt different. My memory got better. My sleep, I didn't need to sleep as much for certain things. So yeah, it's just experiment for the most part. Yeah.
Okay, so it was basically through trial and error that you basically had that lane of, okay, I know what foods are good for me, I know what foods are not, based on what you were experiencing with your personal body.
Yeah, exactly. And just doing my own research all the time. A lot. A lot of research. Because there's, like I said, a lot of different information out there. And it's kind of hard to discern, all right, what's truth, what's not. Some people literally put things online just to mess with people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if it's on a Facebook post.
you know what I'm saying?
Just
to say,
post,
I know something. Whatever. But, yeah. So it's, like I said, just sifting through all the information, trial and error, finding out what was true for me, because everybody's gonna react different to different things.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question: why do you feel that there is this constant need for information in terms of health? Do you feel like because of the era that we're in, a lot of stuff is a lot more exposed? We're a lot more health conscious. If you look at Chipotle, other places, Taco Bell, we're a little bit more health conscious now. And with our past generations, our past ancestors really didn't have that opportunity or that knowledge to really, take advantage of the health benefits, because the knowledge wasn't there at the time. Now that we're in this era, we have better knowledge. Is it too late for somebody to start? Let's say somebody's in their 40s or 30s or even late 20s. Is it too?
Nah. It's never. Honestly, the body is unless you've really done some crazy damage to your body. I mean, even still, people in their 40s and 50s can still fight off cancer with particular diet changes and things like meditative practices and just things of that nature, which is a whole nother topic we can get into. But I feel like the knowledge has always been there, it's just the general public has always been misconstrued just because of big brand advertising and consumerism, and we're always like blinded by these bright lights and televisions telling us what we should or shouldn't do.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, I just think now it's just more easily accessible. You can just Google something, and you can search through a million different articles. Some will say the same thing, some won't. But then again, the trial and error is where the truth comes in for each individual. So yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, it definitely did.
It's just more available, and it's definitely not too late. It's never too late. All right, bro. Peace, homie. Bless.
So, let me ask you this question now. What are some ways that what are some tips? What are some ways that people can start out really checking their diet and stuff like that? Because when people talk about carbs and fat foods and stuff like that, and those different categories of what your intake is and this and that, that can sound like a totally different language.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it could lose people to the point it's like, all right, well, just do my nutrition plan,
right,
and y'all figure that out, and
right.
and I'll just go through the steps. Don't be giving me all these.
Right.
I got to get a dictionary now for all this. You know what I'm saying?
Right, for sure.
So, what's the best? What are some tips or the best way to kind of navigate through that?
Really, just trial and error. Like, I have an entire Google Docs section set out where I have spreadsheets of links and informational sheets. So like if anybody wants access to that, I'm gonna keep adding to it. There's different things for like workouts, physiological, like anatomy, bioenergetics, but also like nutrition, wellness, things of that nature. Josh Huff official at gmail.com. So if you want, just email me and I'll just share the files with you. But other than that, it's really not as complicated as they make it out to be. The thing with big companies and industries really is they make it difficult. You know, they make it a particular way so that not everybody can do it, so that people have something to rely on, so that they have something to make money from. You know, it's basically just, it's wordplay, it's creating something or rewording something to be more difficult for the common people, so that they can take advantage or have the power. You know, but really, like, your body knows what it needs, which is mostly water, vitamins from like natural plants and foods, maybe a little bit of protein from like legumes, which is like peanuts, lentils, chickpeas, things of that nature, soy, whatever, and maybe like chicken. We're not really as carnivore. Yeah, we're not. Sometimes, yeah.
Because I know some people don't want. I know the fried portion people don't really want to.
Yeah, the frieds are the oils and the fats, and it's also it also depends on your activity levels. You know, like your body type. Everybody's got a different genetic like setup and makeup. Like there's generally 3 different body types, but you're a mix of all 3. So you just kind of like have to like, okay, clean up the diet first, get all the bullshit out of the way, stop eating out all the time, like make your own foods, learn specific like diets, like, and just like stick to citrus fruits and like berries and like, I don't know, just things that grow naturally. Because the reason why health is such a dilemma now is because we're always consuming things that are entirely unnatural. Shit that's made in a factory, that's disgusting. Like, you're just constantly consuming that. Like 90% of your food comes from a factory or is like just frozen, slapped on a grill within 5 minutes and put out, not taking like 2-3 years to grow, or maybe like hundreds of thousands of years to grow. And like, you know, that's our body is made of the same genetical like makeup and creational patterns as nature. So you might as well consume from nature so that you can become your highest self. Because diet is like a huge part. If your blood, your veins, if your neurological like capacity is limited by your diet mostly, and like how much water you drink, like your sodas, like the sugars, the fats, and all that shit. So it's like, just clean it up, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's pretty much, just clean it up.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that. So let me ask you this: in terms when it comes to, I know you do your own nutrition plans for people, actually. Yeah. That I've heard. So what are some of the steps? Like, what's the process of research that you do? Like, how does that process go about? Like, where do you go to get the research? Because nowadays, with every single piece of media coming at you and you don't know what to believe. Yeah. You know, what do I do besides I know the fact that lemons are good in certain aspects? Like, what do I do? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It really just comes down to like I said, cleaning it up and trial and error. The process of actually like researching. I really don't have much of a process because I've kind of gotten into my own groove, just naturally like freestyling and just coming across and understanding that the universe, I'm going to attract whatever it is that I need, and I have to learn and reap what I've sown before I can like just like write out a process. Like I've tried to write my own like workout plans and stuff of that nature, but there's always things that get in the way because unexpectedness of life. That's just the creation. Absolutely. You just have to go along with the flow of it. You can't just like put it in a box. So most of the time. So yeah, it's just like if I have a question on my mind, boom, phone, Google. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just literally that easy. And if you don't have a phone, you probably have, regardless. Everybody has a natural intuition. Some people just aren't in touch with it, so they have to look with like outside of themselves for information. But if you're deep into meditative practice or even like yoga, or even if you're just in tune with your body in general, and you practice on that, and you like just listen to what you have to say, because you are your body. You know what I'm saying? It's not a separation. I'm not up here and then something else is down here. This is all one organism. All interconnected. Exactly. So it's kind of like also listening to that inner intuition and trusting yourself, because we're always, again, trusting outside of ourselves for like, okay, what do I need? Tell me what I need. No, you already know what you need. You just haven't learned to trust yourself, because everything is so confusing when you're visually distracted all the time, So, yeah, that's kind of how I go about it.
What do you think is the cause of a lot of, that dependency of relying on other people to tell you what the diet is? Is it the lack of self-confidence that you mentioned? Is it, is it just, is it how the person was raised? Is it just, what they're taking in? I mean, it could be a number of different things.
It's absolutely a number of different things, as most things are, but it's all momentum, really. Mm-hmm. It's all momentum from billions and billions of years, like, it's not like this shit just like randomly popped up. This was like a slow progression that people just weren't aware of. I don't know. It's, it can be kind of like difficult to pinpoint something, but I think in terms of, like I keep mentioning, like consumerism and just always being distracted, like the televisions, like most people spend at least, 3 to 5 hours in front of a TV a day,
more like in front of a phone now.
Yeah, phones, TVs, laptops, anything that like we're always constantly outside of ourselves. We're always constantly distracted. So we're always gonna like find something to latch onto in terms of that, because most people can't sit by themselves. Most people can't sit still because they're just always like constantly stimulated. And as soon as like that shit goes away, they're like anxiety. You know what I'm saying?
Similar to when Instagram shut down for a while that one day, and to see everybody's reaction. Even me, like I'm guilty, because I was like, hey, did anybody else know that Instagram shut down?
Yeah, I was like, what? All right, cool. Most of the days I like just don't even like to be on my phone, but in terms of like speaking upon things like this, is like a necessity since everybody else is on it. So, yeah.
Now, what I find interesting is that you're 23 and you're the very opposite of what the stereotype what people would say. Because a lot of people would look at your age and be like, oh my gosh, they're always on their phone, they're not paying attention. But then you come in, it's like, no, that's not me.
Yeah, it's not the wave, bro. There's like me and a lot of my other friends. We have we have a grand vision to open up an entire like community, like eco-friendly, solar energy, water energy, hydroelectric, all that. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but the general idea is to create or take what we have, because you can't just like ignore it and throw it away and then build on top of it. That's just kind of like, it's kind of ignorant at that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's more so we're just like, we understand and we see and we're aware of the things that are slowly killing us as a people. Not even just like white people or black people or Asian people or whatever the hell like society's labeled you as. You know what I'm saying? Like those are not the things that define you. It's like we are one. We have to come together as one if we are to like properly survive. I mean, survival of the fittest and natural selection. That's just how nature works. But it's I don't know. It's not everybody's always here, it's like me and my friends will just meet for like hours a day. We'll be outside just talking about like, okay, like how can we how can we better this? Okay, like, can you teach me this? Can you teach me that? I don't know. What are you talking about? You know, we just converse like this,
Right.
you know, always. And that's, I don't know. That's where the change is going to happen.
Right, because I think it's one of those things where you have to have a conversation with several people that are not from the background you're from. Because it's an iron sharpens iron type of conversation.
Absolutely.
So that way, because if you focus on just what you know and only rely on that, you're missing the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
So it's always good to have talks with people, whether they're strangers or whether you have been long-time
100%.
friends.
Homeless people,
Right.
millionaires, don't matter.
Right.
Everybody's got something to say.
Everybody can give you a lesson, and it's always great to have a lesson
Absolutely.
to learn from it, because it's going to help you grow and it's going to help you go further in
Absolutely.
whatever you're pursuing.
Absolutely. 100%.
So definitely,
sure.
man. Now, if somebody was not totally, I mean, we've kind of felt upon this. People that don't know what carbs are, what fats are, can you describe each category? That way people know.
I'm not as knowledgeable in those fields, those realms in terms of like how they get broken down by the body, but they're basically like fuel sources for the body. It's basically like different kinds of fuel when you go to the gas station. One's like Supreme, one's like regular, one's whatever, biodiesel. I can't really tell you like which one belongs where, but basically they're just fuel, and they'll get broken down into sugars and proteins, and some of the fat will be stored, and it also depends on like how you know, whether or not you utilize it, because it could just become stagnant energy, which is how fat builds stagnancy. So yeah, carbs again gets broken down to energy. There's like a energy currency for the body called adenosine triphosphate, which is ATP, which is like what your body like basically breaks down into like glucosis and things of that nature. I gotta like review on that, you know, to be more descriptive. Yeah. But yeah, it's just fuel, basically fuel cells for your body.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And there's no really like, there's natural fats, and then there's like I said, like industrialized, like unnatural fats, you know, like fats you can get from animals, or I mean even almonds have like omega-3 fatty acids, which are like building blocks for like proteins and stuff like that. So yeah, it varies from food to food. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Now, with your walk in nutrition, do you have a certain goal you're trying to reach, or is it more about just maintaining what you're trying to do right now?
Right now it's about like healing and rebalancing, and just kind of like getting one with that, and one with what I feel when I eat particular things. Yeah, and just kind of trying to really become aware. There's some days where I'll be hungry as hell, but there's nothing like valuable, I guess. It's not like a good word, but it's just not going to benefit me regardless. And you know, I've trained myself to where I've done like long periods of fasting, so like I don't need these things. So it's really just getting down to what do I need, what is best for me, what do I need to cut out, and just going from there. So yeah, it's really just, I like have like one meal a day, one big meal a day, something like that, if I need it. Other than that, I'm just like snacking, like almonds, like fruits, vegetables. Pretty much, and I was just keeping it straightforward, no meats either, you know, because like most of our animals aren't taken care of. They're all just having like they're just hurtled into like an area, treated like shit. Yeah, and that's stress in the meats. That's when the fats turn like raw and bad, and like the fibers of the meats lose their potency and their strength, because they're not like what we are eating, even if it is natural, is not treated properly. So it still has that component of stress and like lacking of value.
Do you feel like that energy can be transferred from one party to the next? Meaning, if we consume that type of food, absolutely, we end up acting in that manner.
You become what you consume. You know what I'm saying? All the time. What you continually surround yourself with, what you continually consume, you will eventually become. And what you continuously do, basically. What you continuously do, you will eventually become. You know what I'm saying? In all respects. Like energy or matter cannot be like destroyed nor created. It's like just transferred. It's all momentum. So when a cattle is under stress, right, and then it's killed under stress, or even if it's just under its whole life and it dies peacefully, it doesn't matter. Like those muscles and those fats are like just tainted with like heavy like sadness and pain, you know. And then you go and consume that, like a little cutout of that. It's that energy is frozen, literally frozen in a block. You de-thaw it, you cook it, and that energy is transferred into you. So yeah, it's definitely very. It's kind of like it's difficult in that way to really have a beneficial diet, like truly, like in the truest sense, completely pure, because it's just
where you are
geographically. It's just the world, man.
Geographically,
it's how
where
society's
you are.
working right now. For now, till we change it.
So does that frustrate you? Because it's like you're at this point now where, and when's the last time you have ever consumed meat? Has it been a while?
Honestly, no, it's not. I mean, salmon, fish. I eat fish. And if occasionally
wild
like
card
chicken,
or it don't matter?
It's wild card usually.
Okay.
But yeah, not that often, really. I try to like keep it to a minimum. Definitely no like pork. I cannot do pork for some reason unless it's bacon, because bacon smacks.
Notice everybody that is eating healthy will sacrifice bacon. That's the only thing that they will sacrifice bacon. They'll get rid of any pork, just not the bacon.
Hell yeah. I mean, I used to be really, really frustrated with society when I was first starting to like build this like awareness and kind of like travel into it and start the journey. I was like really pissed, you know. I was pissed because I was feeling like shit because we were just misled the entire time and completely like all of the teachings in Western society are
nobody likes being lied to.
It's bullshit, you know. Nobody does. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna be real with me, be real with me. Don't tell me you're being real. If you're gonna be fake, at least tell me you're being fake.
Right.
Then I have the option to be like, all right, whatever, you know.
Right.
Then at that point it's like my decision. But if you're whole different story, but
we'll get to that.
Yeah. You know, I could talk forever, but as the years go by, the more research I do, and plus it's just like trusting that, like I said, momentum. Everything is momentum. You know, you're always gonna have that kind of duality. There's always gonna be people trying to misconstrue the truth and twist people's arms into doing certain things, but there's always gonna be those truth seekers and those people who are here to guide the world and balance all of that bullshit with truth and legitimacy, and then hopefully even like merge the two. Like, all right, y'all got money and power, we got knowledge and wisdom. What's up? Let's like converge and just have like a peaceful whatever. But yeah, now it's just like, okay, I understand that the world is the way it is, and I can't do something immediately about it. The only thing I can influence is myself. My decisions, my thoughts, my emotions, and then from that, how do I decide to react to it? Because I can decide to be pissed off all the time, but then I'm just building up negative energy and I'm just stressing my entire being out.
Right, you're gonna lose your hair by 25.
I'm saying, like, what? You know, if I don't pull it out, it's just gonna naturally fall off. Yeah, so now it's just like I accept it, you know, and I love the world, regardless of, you know, how shitty some things might be. It's just like, you know, we're gonna keep living on regardless, because that's what life does. You know what I'm saying? Like yin and yang balance on forever. So
yeah. It's definitely a ride to perseverance with whatever you're doing.
Truth.
And you can't, especially nowadays, it's easy to get caught up. It's easy to be negative.
Yeah.
It's easy to follow the crowd and just be on a negative wave. It's it's way more easier to get on that negative path. And
Absolutely.
then you look at what positive people do, and that's a narrow road, and there's a lot less people on that road. There's a reason for
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, right.
Because people are, and I'm not trying to turn this political, but people are programmed in this country to be followers rather than
100%,
leaders.
100%.
Like if you try to do stuff on the cuff or do stuff on the beat to your own drum, it's kind of weird. It's like, hey man, fall in line. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think this is?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like people tend to look at you like crazy for want to follow what you're destined to follow. Like you called to do this, like go after it.
This should be blowing. Right, it blows me so much because it's like clearly you feel the way you're living is so there's something off with it. You don't feel right within your lifestyle or within this you know, this era, this realm, this idealism that we're always supposed to be following in line, and 9 to 5, full-time job, this and that, get a house, get a child, get a wife, blah, 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 die, croak over, teach them all to do the same shit, you know. But like the people who decide to say, nah, you know, forget that. Like, I'm doing what I'm going to do because there is not a damn thing else that I can do. Mm-hmm. And I will not live any other way than what makes me feel like I am me. I am whole. You know what I'm saying? That's why so many people are anxious and like turning to phones and turning to other things to consume constantly so that they can fill that void and not have to sit back for a moment and like, okay, what am I feeling? Like, what do I know within myself is right and wrong for me? Because that, again, that's a very like broad range. Right and wrong, you know, we're always told this is right, this is wrong.
Right.
Nah. Somebody could be doing something the right way, but it's not working because it's clearly not the right way. You've just got the illusion that, okay, this is right because everybody else is doing it. Mm-hmm. Nah, it's like I said, everybody is individually unique in their own way, but also they're filling the gaps. Like, other people are the gaps to be filled where you can't. Like I said, me and my friends, we get together. If I don't know something and you know something I don't, what's up? Like, teach me.
Right. There's nothing wrong with saying I don't know. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
That's the only way you can learn is when you admit that, okay, maybe I didn't know as much as I thought. You know, and that's hard for people to do because they're very prideful. They want to feel important. They want to feel like they know everything, but you don't. There's always something to learn, always something to experience, which is why we keep coming back. You know, like that momentum is carried over through generations.
Absolutely. I was telling my one friend this. I was like, at a certain age, you're required a couple of things. One of those things is to invest in yourself, but also it could require you to unlearn certain things that you were taught.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy process because you've been so programmed over time to go by this ideology that now that you are your own person, you have your own thoughts, you have your own feelings, you have your own callings that you want to follow.
Yeah.
It's going to require you to unlearn certain things that you were taught by loved ones or that friend or something like that. So it's never an easy process to unlearn that, re-trigger, and figure out and be on a new path.
Absolutely. But it's all about, like you said, perseverance. That's really what it comes down to. It's just like, okay, it's going to be hard. Yeah. Some days are going to be hard. Some days I'm going to be like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done. Why didn't I do this more often or sooner? Then there's some days you're going to be like, I wish I never started this because you're going to have to face a lot of things maybe that you ignored, maybe that you wish you didn't do, but you did. So what now? You know, it's like momentum. You have to take that momentum with you. And if you can persevere and fill those gaps with other people, you know, unite yourself with other people, human beings, like remove the judgments, remove whatever like stigmas and anything you've been programmed, like society has programmed you to think a certain way, to always like, even if you don't realize it, there's micro judgments in the back of your head or micro decisions in the back of your head that bring it to the forefront, you know, in that momentum. So it's like cultivating that awareness, being quiet, being able to accept, okay, that was probably not the smartest thing for me to do, but here I am. What can I do to make up for it, and then change and make sure it never happens again?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What led to your moment of clarity? What led to you kind of figuring certain things out? I'm not trying to sit over here and act like you got everything figured out, because nobody does. Yeah. Nobody does.
Well, the good thing is there's nothing to figure out, and that was kind of like my insane moment of clarity. I think it was the first time I heard Alan Watts, a lecture from Alan Watts. He's kind of inspired me to. He's dead, long dead, old philosopher in Britain. I think he was born and raised, but he studied many different religions and ideologies and philosophies, and basically there literally legitimately is nothing to figure out. There's nothing to try and grasp at except what is, and that requires silence. So the moment I heard like things like that in some of his lectures, and the more I listened to it, and the more I dove into qigong and tai chi and meditation and yoga, the more I began to like cultivate that. And like there's always like every day brings a new moment of clarity for me because I'm open to it. Now I've kind of like not fully deprogrammed myself, but there's a lot of ties I've cut to certain habits and reactions and things of that nature. Now I'm more able to sit back and take in fully what is, because that's the point. That's the point. Every step of the way of the process is the point. It's not the goal. That's like, all right, I might get there, but the entire process may shift, and I'll be disappointed because I expected something. But now it's like
you're kind of leaving the expectations aside, so that way you can just get to. You just want to continue to grow. Because the moment
you're looking for something, you're gonna miss what you need. You know what I'm saying? If you're always seeking for what you want to find, you're never gonna find what you need. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna always be, again, filling that void.
Or you can run the risk of being misled because you focus on this one thing, you don't focus on this blessing over here that could lead you to your true enlightenment. You just don't know.
Exactly. And it's as simple as understanding that anything at any moment could teach you exactly what it is you might be looking for. You just have to stop looking for it and just see. You can look and not see, but you can't like see and not look. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's kind of just like taking those distractions away from you. You're getting away from the TV, like eradicating like bullshit in your diet, like taking up a meditative practice, because that's what helps you like be more self-reflective and like, okay, I just heard this thought in my head and I almost had the impulse to do this thing, but now that I noticed it, I can pull back and I can be like, okay, is this really something that I need to be doing or want to be doing? And then from there, it's just, so everything, once you can just become aware of things, there's a lot of clarity, like every moment. Like, simple as like, I don't know, me and my girlfriend were walking and there were like butterflies playing in the air, and then, I don't know, entire conversations will literally like create my day. Like the very moment I wake up, or, I mean, it's all momentum from like past days and past years, but it's just being aware of that stuff, and it's beautiful to kind of like see how things will naturally unfold regardless of what you do. That's also been like a huge help to me. It's like, you know, getting stressed, like I feel like I've got to do something all the time, you know, again, that constant stimulation, you're like addicted to it almost, right? Just from the TV and societal like conditioning.
Because it could be toxic. It can be really toxic.
Very
at times.
toxic. It's tiring, and that's why everybody's kind of just like slowing down. You need to like have like Adderall and all these like medications to help you focus. Red Bulls, coffee, like whatever.
And you can't even trust that because that might be harmful.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's just an endless cycle of just looping you into this web of it's just self-destruction. And if you lose your sense of self in a more peaceful manner, like stepping back, like a lot of people, like the ego will identify with those ideas, with those habits, with those things, and you will constantly do things. The ego will constantly push you to do those things more often and in different ways to more solidify the structure and that programming. But the moment you can lose that sense of self and let go of like those habits and everything like that, you will find like the true me, which is like the unity of everybody. Like I was saying, like everybody will fill in the gaps. But if you're trying to look for something outside of yourself frantically, and you don't understand that, or you don't accept that, or you don't like play with that idea, you're just going to be stuck in the same routine of bullshit over and over. So
it's like the definition of insanity. You do the same thing expecting a different result. Literally.
Yep.
It's like at some point I have to move the chess game in a certain way for me to win. I can't play the same way and expect to win.
Right, exactly.
I can't move this pawn over here, the same place I put it the last time before I lost.
Exactly, man. If you keep hitting the same problem over and over, you're most likely the problem. That's what I tell people. Like if you keep incurring and like facing these same issues and these problems, and you keep feeling the same way, or like you can't quote unquote hold on to people or keep people in your life, then you might want to look within, because more often than not, what's happening outside of you is a reflection of the energy within. That's that energy transfer. Your thoughts, your emotions, like every second you're thinking something, it's gonna shape your reality.
Yeah, because I'm like that. I'm not I'm not a rah-rah type guy, but But if that energy ain't right, I have to get away. If it's not right, I have to get away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's that intuition. You know,
Right.
like you're trusting yourself and what you feel like. All right, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, and I'm probably just gonna leave. I
Right.
got it. You know, so yeah, definitely.
Now, from a nutritional standpoint, and when that correlates to your creative side of stuff, the stuff you want to do creatively, did you notice an improvement of your creativity as well?
Boy, it's so in terms of like dimensional realities, being able to clean out the diet and operate and fuel your system in such a way that it's clean and it's pure and it's like natural energy and it's not weighed down by stressed out meats or stressed out plants or anything of that nature. The more you can kind of feel your body becoming lighter and your being becoming lighter, like the moment I started really cutting out like sugars and like packaged foods, unless like I really am struggling, you know what I'm saying? Like even still, I'll just have rice or oatmeal or something simple that you really can't fuck up. You know what I'm saying? That you really can't mess up. Yeah, the moment I started really taking it seriously, it really shifted, because even like the past holidays I was pigging out, bro. Like Thanksgiving, New
that'll
Year's,
do it every time.
Christmas, every time, bro. And I knew in my head, I was like, I know I don't. The crazy part, I was like, I know I don't want to be doing this, but this food smacks. Like I can't.
But that mac and cheese though.
Bro,
but the stuffing,
bro, everything.
Collard greens.
Yes, collard greens are actually good. A good source of iron.
Actually good. What? Actually good. We have it every Thanksgiving.
Hell yeah. But yeah. And in terms of my creativity, like I said, like healthy gut, healthy heart, healthy mind. You know, my vision is clearer. My dreams are more vivid. Like my music comes through me more naturally. My vocal cords aren't as distorted because there's not as much like mucus buildup trying to fight off like the bad bacteria that's building up in my stomach from the shit that I'm eating. You know what I'm saying? Or drinking. Like even if you don't have filtered water, that can literally that can probably destroy some of your arteries over time, because of like different minerals and irons and things that are just not supposed to be in your bloodstream or used by your brain. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it just and it helped a lot in terms of alignment with that dimensional reality I was talking about, like that purpose, because everything that was ever meant to happen is already happening. Hey, you're just kind of like re-experiencing it and relearning it in a different way. That's just the momentum of energy. I believe, at least. You know, some people might not agree, and that's cool. You know,
that's fine, yeah.
That's cool. You know, whatever.
But it's good to get that perspective, though.
Yeah, exactly. So the moment I kind of was like thinking, you know, like getting those distractions out of the way, losing the sense of self, like in a way killing my ego every day, and just understanding like I am not the things that I allow myself to become. You know what I'm saying? I am what I decide to be. And you know, just focusing on that and cleaning out my diet and doing like the right things that are right for me. The more things are becoming just aligned, you know, I can see like my girlfriend's having visions of certain things that I was like already dreaming about or already like spoken into reality. And it's like my momentum and my energy comes so much more from me than the past. It comes so much more from me now, from me being able to be quiet and sit and think and like feel and not even like, maybe not even speak, but just think in my head and just like integrate like what I want or what I know is true and right for me. And literally like the next day or like within 30 minutes, what I was thinking about will either come out of somebody else's mouth that I'm already connected with and close with, or it'll manifest itself like immediately almost. So in terms of manifestation of dreams and aligning yourself with like your natural purpose, your diet, your attitude, like all the things I've been talking about is so crucial to kind of clean, you know, like wash away and just become anew in a way, you know, new perspective, fresh mind every day, beginner's eye type deal. So yeah.
Now, you being on this journey I'm pretty sure that has influence on your music from a lyric perspective and stuff like that, because you're not seeing it as the regular musician, whatever that means.
Yeah, right.
You're kind of getting, because you're kind of looking at it from a, I guess I would say like an outside yourself perspective, where you're kind of able to kind of take yourself out of the situation, or step out of yourself as Josh and can kind of look at the situation from a bigger perspective.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. Because a lot of my music, especially on this Traveling Man album, so that's like everything like I'm saying, like this entire conversation is literally my album. Like the music is just talking about like diving into yourself and feeling what you have ignored, understanding that you don't know everything that you thought you did, and learning from everything you possibly could and can. And it's a lot about like traveling outside the world, like being in nature. The tones are very heavily inspired by nature as well, because it's healing, and I want my music to be healing, and that's what the diet is too, and everything I'm trying to do. But yeah, like lyrically wise, man, I mean, y'all will see when I release it, but you'll see. Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Let's get into the creative. Let's get into your creative process. Okay. When you are putting together, whether it be an EP, whether it be a song, whether it be an album, any of those creative things. Mm-hmm. When you get to day one of starting that, where do you get your inspiration from? Where do you pull it from? And also the process that you go about that. Is there anything unique that you do?
Yeah. I'll actually a lot of my songs have actually just come from feeling and like listening with my inner ear, not so much with like what's outside of me, but what is within me. What do I feel? So meditating, doing yoga, doing like qigong and tai chi, I'll do it for like anywhere from like 15 to like 30, 45 minutes to an hour, and then I'll play for another like hour or so, and just allow myself to drop into that outside perspective along with the inside perspective, like taking myself outside of what I want, what I think, and stop trying to like analyze like, okay, this song should be this way or this song should be that way, because that's not the creative process. The creative process is entirely free. There is no constraint. There is no I think, or it should, or it might. It might, maybe, who knows.
You might as well go independent. Only one way to find out.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Right.
Well, you get signed, you're going to get a whole lot of that. You're going to get a whole lot of that.
Yeah, nah, fuck that. Sorry. Excuse my language, but I'm not going to be industrialized at all. And it's just like focusing on that purity and just being honest. That's all it is. It's just being honest with what I feel and kind of just letting it all come through me. Because sometimes like I'll sit there and be like, oh, I don't know what to do with this part, or I don't know what to do with that part. And I'll just kind of sit and keep playing it and just hum, close my eyes, like really get into like the rhythm and like feel it. And then whatever I'm feeling, I'll just start like singing. Whatever first thing comes to my head, it's just freestyling. Just literally the creative process is just being completely open, completely honest, and letting it all just be free and expressing it, rather than like holding it in and thinking, like, oh, this could have been a good line, but now I forgot because I thought it should have been this way,
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then the creative process is like just freedom. That's all it is.
Do you pull from energy from anybody else in terms of for your creative process, or is it mainly you go into that place and that's it?
In terms of sound, I think I definitely get inspired by fellow musicians I know, by musicians I've just listened to over the years, and just like how they go about like performing and presenting and telling a story. So I definitely drag like inspirations and carry momentum from those ideas and those feelings that they've inspired within me. Other than that, like my friends, my girlfriend, I mean, even right now, this could inspire an entire new lyric or a new guitar part for a song I'm already working on, or an entirely new song, So it really just depends. Just like I said, I just sit back, and sometimes I'll literally sit there and I'll just tune to nature, whatever I'm hearing. Like I tune to the rain sometimes, and I've like played it for other people like while I'm tuning it, and they'll be like, holy shit, like that legitimately matches what I'm feeling, or what this energy like out here is like providing for us. So it's just like connecting with whoever, whenever, however, and just like being open and honest and genuine, allowing it to like come into my space, seeing it from an outside perspective, not from Josh, but from silence and accepting and love as well, and then just reciprocating like whatever I have within me, which is just like love. You know what I'm saying? Right. At the end of the day. So yeah,
that's interesting, because that's a very unique perspective. You don't really, I don't, in this area, I've never heard a musician come at it with that approach that you just came at it with. Like it's very interesting. Because a lot of the times when I talk with a musician, and this is no knock, but it gets, you kind of, when you talk with enough musicians, you kind of know where the conversation is going.
Yeah.
Because they kind of all have the same creative process, and it's very similar depending on whichever genre it is.
Yeah.
But it gets very well, my approach is this. I have to do it like this, and. You, however, are not married to an approach. You're not married to a style. You're not committed to, this is going to sound wrong, but you don't really commit to a certain approach. You don't commit to anything.
Truth.
You kind of let the times and the energy at that moment dictate the route that you kind of go.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of a reverse on progression.
Truth.
Because usually it's like, well, I have to, I got to talk from my perspective and hit the audience that way.
Yeah.
No, you just, it seems like, based on what I'm hearing, you get low, you stay silent, you wait until the universe tells you what the energy is, what's going on, and then you
then I just carry it. Yeah.
Right.
I'm just like, all right, what's coming into my awareness? How does it feel? What am I going to do with it?
Right.
Or what does it inspire me to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is it leading me? It's not, all right, what am I going to, like, mess it around and then give it to someone and just overthink it. Like, that's how a lot of artists kind of, I feel, go about it in general. And they just try and, like, make it how they think it should be. And there could have been a completely different thing that they're ignoring. Like, there's still some songs where I would have literally been overthinking the same bit, and so I wouldn't even play the song for like 3 weeks, and then I'd come back to it and drop into like whatever situation, and however it's changed, and a whole new guitar part will come out, a whole new chorus, a whole new harmony. Like, maybe sometimes I'll rewrite the entire song, but it's just, like I said, like being honest and open with myself and with whatever it is, and then that's like, from that, everything can happen. Everything is already happening. You just have to like acknowledge it, and then it'll just manifest. Yeah,
that's a unique approach to it. I've never heard somebody, and there was a period I was around a lot of music artists,
really,
and just hearing usually the approach was the same. It was like, hey, it was like, my attack is usually this, my approach is usually this. This is what I want to kind of do. You were, people talk about being open, but you have come on to this platform with like the most open-minded approach I think I've heard in a while. And you're only 23.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it's very inspiring, but it's also very enlightening that you're 23 and you're not what society considers what a 23-year-old would be.
Right.
Your focus is on something much. It seems like it's focused on something much bigger than yourself.
Absolutely. Because it's not, like I said, it's not ever just you. It's literally impossible for the world to just be centered around you. Like, everything happens for a reason. Even if it's shitty and you hate it and like it's made you depressed, you have to accept it, especially if it wasn't within your own control. Because maybe you got in a car crash, but somebody like 3-4 cars back, if you weren't there, they would have been the one to die. They would have died. But you're still alive, and that person is still alive too. You may have messed up your car or whatever. This is just an example. But when shit happens, it's for a reason, because there's always a bigger picture. We're literally droplets of water in an ocean. We are no different, but if you extract each droplet from the ocean, it's going to be different each time. But if you put it in, it's just one conglomerate piece, and we have to learn how to move as one, or it's just going to be constant chaos all the time.
So let me ask you this. You carrying that energy from the studio when you're recording into your live performance.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the type of live performer? Are you very active? Do you walk around? Are you very energy oriented? Or are you more, I'm going to let you, are you more Adele style where it's like, I'm going to stand here stoic and I'm going to let my voice and my music, I just want y'all to vibe real quick. Like there's two different types of energy and neither one is right or wrong.
Right.
But it's two different approaches. So I'm just wondering, what type of live performer are you?
Yeah. So for now, since it's just me, I don't do too much moving around. Usually I'm sitting on a stool and just like, I'm just like, my eyes are closed, everything disappears, and then it just like comes out. And sometimes there's literally been times where I've been performing and I've rewritten an entire verse on the spot just because I was like, I just feel this way, so I'm gonna speak it, you know. Or sometimes like I'll have a song that I wasn't prepared to do, or it's not finished, but I was just like, I even tell the audience, I'm like, so this song, like I've been working on it, I just started writing it like a few days ago, whatever. I'm just gonna freestyle like a couple of verses and see how it comes out, so bear with me. And then I'll just like, you know, I'm just like honest, open, and then I just like feel whatever it is and let it come through me. So, but once I get a band, once I have a drummer and other people to interact with on stage, it's a completely different energy. Like even if it's another guitarist sitting down next to me, we'll just like kind of turn it on each other, and I'll just like, all right, signal like, all right, I'm about to go here, or like, what are you about to do? And we just like, again, like open to the experience, and you know, give it to the audience and just experience it with the audience, because it's all new at that moment. It's completely new. I'm seeing it not completely different, but it's going to have a different kind of feeling because there's a different person there tonight, or I'm in literally a physical different spot in the room, so there's a different kind of energy right in this particular spot compared to like 3 feet over, you know. So
right yeah. I definitely get that. What musicians inspired you musically?
Oh man, Matt Corby for sure. Matt Corby, talk about soul. Yeah, nah.
Because you do got kind of a soul R&B vibe too.
Yeah. And then definitely like, I mean, like Leonard Skinner, Earth, Wind and Fire, Stevie Wonder, like some classic stuff. Modern stuff like SZA inspires me too. Her. I mean, even J. Cole in terms of lyricism and wordplay and telling the story. There's Locksmith. There's just so many. Ben Howard, John Mayer in terms of like composure and guitar playing. All over the place, honestly. All over the place. And sometimes there's like artists, like one song that's inspired me and I never know who it is, but like it's just like that day it completely changed my life or something like that, you know? So, yeah.
Oh, awesome. So I'm kind of curious as to where do you see yourself? And I'm not talking about from a success standpoint.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about from kind of where you want to be. I don't want to go based on some ideology of what somebody else's success means for you or something along that nature. Where are you trying to take this music? Where do you want it to go as of right now?
I mean, honestly, I'd love to have it played all over the world, you know. But it's really, like I said, it's just it's centered around healing. So I'd love to just. I don't want to sell out big theaters. I don't want to have fat ass shows where there's fireworks and lights and like, I don't know, just all this like unnecessary stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like it's about the music. It's about opening up myself to others, to see that within myself and within other people there is a mirror, you know, that reflects back and forth between you, like me and you, just having this open conversation. You might be learning something about yourself, and certain questions you're asking me, I may be answering in the moment that I haven't like truly like expressed quite yet. So that's kind of like the music. I just want to like living room tours. Like I want to do living room tours. I want to be outside and like have like small like court concerts, at least to start out, and then I just want to have it on the radio even, and just completely like retune the universe, because we're actually so standardized tuning. We're operating about like 8 hertz above natural tuning. So we're actually like literally programmed, not just within our language habits and things of that nature, but we are literally tuned through the music, through that comes especially like mainstream music. We are tuned to be in a frantic state of being constantly, because we are operating 8 hertz or 10 hertz, 12 hertz, whatever, above our natural state of being.
Do you think that's why there's been a huge like awareness on mental health?
Yeah.
Do you think that has something to do with that?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, everybody, like, you can only ignore something for so long. And I think people are finally just starting to realize, or at least admit to themselves, that they knew something was wrong, and now they're deciding to act upon it. Because most people are like, like you said, it's easier to just follow the crowd. Right. Whereas completely going against it, you're going to lose quote unquote friends. You know what I'm saying? You're going to lose maybe family members. You're going to whatever, but as long as you see it more as like, all right, I'm gaining a whole new life. I'm not losing anything. I'm just gaining a whole new life. Whatever leaves, it wasn't meant to truly stay. So why am I going to try it and latch on to something that's just not good for me? Habits, myself, my ideas, my beliefs, my work ethic, this and that, whatever. So the music is really just out there to really allow people to kind of sing their song, because I want to be able to take away the lyrics, because it's my story on top of the lyrics, as well as I feel like sometimes I've definitely like channeled a lot of other people's energies, just through like being inspired through interactions. But I want to be able to take away and just give the instrumental, and then have people be able to sing their song on top of it and express whatever they're feeling, or express like their pain or their love or their happiness or their anger, because at the end of the day, that's the greatest release, is to just express, accept, and love and move on. And that's pretty much like the focus of the entire album.
Okay.
Yeah. It's called Traveling Man, by the way. So. Okay.
So is this your very first album?
Yeah.
And you already have EPs in the past, right?
No, I have nothing released ever.
Oh, okay, cool.
I mean, I've released small recordings here or there of like, I don't know, like certain things that I was working on in the beginning, and now those things that I released are completely changed now. So yeah, it's like this is kind of the year. This is kind of the year for me to sit down and like a lot of things, I'm not like forcing them to become solidified. I'm allowing them to rest in whatever state they want to be in. Because like even what I was showing my girlfriend, I literally, because I was with my friend, I just completely came up with a whole different tune, or a different lick for a song that I've had for over a year. And it completely like enhanced the dynamic, and now it's starting to settle, because before I was like, I don't really feel that this is like where it should be. It's telling me something more. So then I waited, I felt it out, I experienced some things, and then boom, full circle, it just came back, and I was inspired by a moment, and now it's solidified. So this summer is going to be, I'll probably release about like 3 or 4 songs this summer, and then because I have like orchestras and choirs in my head, like what I hear along with my guitar and my singing is just like that's when I'm gonna have like grand concerts. But for now, it's going to be like very low key, just kind of like put it out into the world, let the universe like flow with it, and then naturally just see where it goes.
I gotta sit here and ask you this question, because like with any creative thing, there is a lot of opportunity to be creative.
Yeah.
A lot of the approaches are and I think your approach is in many ways the best approach, and I think it's the most authentic approach. However, there is the business side to what you're doing. And it's the side that people have to be educated on, because you can be easily taken advantage of if you don't know.
Absolutely.
So you're getting into something where the talent and the approach when you don't have to worry about people to answer to is beautiful. And you have something and your personality is there where people are attracted to get to know you and come to hear you play, and you could easily grow a fan base just off you being authentic.
Yeah.
However, there are questions that will come up as you pursue this journey. Like, are you trying to do this full time? Are you trying to make this a career? Where are you trying to go? Are you trying to be independent? Are you trying to stay more? Are you trying to be industry? Like what, so there's all these questions from a business side of what you're doing that comes up. And you being 23,
yeah,
there is some record exec out there that will try, and either he's going to be a champion towards you, which that is a dime a dozen. That comes. It happens. It happens.
For
but
sure.
there are a lot of people that will try to take advantage. So, like, how do you find the balance between standing up for yourself but remaining open?
Yeah, that's definitely been a difficult thing for many different reasons and many different realms. But in terms of music, I haven't really come across anything like that because I haven't started like releasing anything. But I have friends who have been taken advantage of by people, by producers, by record labels, and I haven't talked to them in depth per se, but I know I definitely have a lot of people who can educate me on these things. Like I said, other people will fill the gaps where I don't know. But I think honestly, that's why I haven't released or tried to put myself out there so heavily because I know that those things can happen, and I know I'm blind to a lot of that side because business is just obnoxious to me. It's just annoying. Like, it's so unnecessary in so many ways, but it is. So you have to accept it. So I've just been like flying under the radar until I know what I need to know, and then then my music is like solidified in its own way, and I can like record it and then copyright it and then start releasing it. Because I think all I need right now is to just like copyright it, and then I don't know how it's gonna go.
I would. Copyright it. Copyright it. Make sure you, when you finally get into these meetings, because I'm pretty sure that based on how you're talking and based on what I've getting to know you and meeting you, you're gonna have people interested in what your message is and what you're providing, because it's not the same conventional message that we've been hearing.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're so young. Yeah, you're going to have people coming in interested in the energy that you're putting out. With that being said, one of the big things that you're probably going to hear when you're getting into this is don't give up the masters, don't give up your publishing. If, you decide you get with a label that is, cross all your T's and dot all your I's first.
Right.
Just make sure you don't give those two things up.
Okay.
There are tons of artists that don't do that, and they wait until they're further in their career and they regret it because they could have had all this money, this income, and based off your hard work. You know what I'm saying?
Truth.
So I'm not a music-centric business person. The biggest thing that I've learned or if I've heard from other people is don't give up the masters, don't give up the publishing.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing.
That makes sense.
So,
yeah.
Just a little
Hell
advice
to you.
Appreciate
that. Definitely well received. I mean? That shit is locked in.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, under the radar until the universe gives me a sign otherwise. Because when the time is right, I'm going to know. So...
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
In terms of where you're at now and the different stuff that you're doing, you don't feel pressure. You don't feel you're kind of in this state to me, and I'm just analyzing you real quick. You're kind of in this state to me that you're not in the hustle and bustle that the society tries to put on you. You're not in the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
your mind is in a quiet space on a beach rather than in a downtown city
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
a bunch of traffic.
100%.
You know, so if more people were interested in, you know, getting to know you more, or talk with you, or even get to, you know, want to talk with you over nutrition plans and stuff like that, is there anything you want to plug?
In terms, what do you mean plug?
Just your information. If people want to reach out to you, where they can reach out to you.
Yeah. So, like I said, joshhuffofficial@gmail.com. That's like my personal email. Otherwise, you can find me Samurai Huff, SAMURAIHUFF. Instagram, Twitter. I'm not really on. Facebook, I'm on. And then I have a YouTube channel, which you can find like in my Instagram bio. I'll post like links. I haven't posted in a while, but yeah. So if you just want to contact me through those social media platforms, I'm always open to talk and chat and just hear what people have to say. And then if I can help, cool. If not, sorry. You know, I'm still. I mean,
there's nothing wrong with asking like, hey, what can I do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I mean, that's why I'm here. You know, I've kind of like labeled myself a creative healer. Because I didn't. Are you an artist? Are you this? I'm like I'm many things, but most of all, I feel like I'm a creative healer. And just because like I create my own path, and I want to show people that they have that power. Everybody has that power to create their own path. We're all creators of our reality. It's just what have you allowed yourself to create?
Right. I got to ask you this question. This question popped into my head. What made you focus on healing so much? Was it like an experience you went through that just made you be like, I gotta. Like, this is the path that I got to be on in terms of healing. Like what made you? Because you've been talking about healing a lot.
Yeah.
Saying like personal story or.
Yeah. So the whole dealing with epilepsy thing. And I've always been in and out of the hospital as a child. Pretty accident prone. But yeah, I just don't think. I don't feel that Western or modern society in general understands what they're really doing. They can say like, okay, they can convince themselves like, oh, I know this, I know that, and in terms of being misled, like misconstrued, there are certain things that I have discovered through different practices, like Eastern philosophies and beliefs and ideas. I've completely deserted like the Western form of medicine because it's full of just testing, experimentation, and limitation. Like you're told that you are this certain thing, but it's so much deeper than that. Like the idea with epilepsy, right, is the fact that my neurons cannot handle a specific amount of stimulation, especially if I'm tired or dehydrated, and those neural connectivities they're not apt to handle whatever's going on. So in a high stress situation, they'll just start firing off, and like I'll start like seizing and like just foaming, and my muscles will contract and expand and like relax like constantly, like rapidly. And they were just like, oh, it's just this, it's just that. But the more I went into it, doing chakra work and doing like qigong work and trying to understand like meditations and certain like the bioenergetics of a human, like what am I actually? You know, I'm told like, okay, you're a body, you're a mind, you're a heart, you're organs and this and that, you're a machine, whatever. No, I'm like literally just pure energy. And there's certain ways that, you know, you're utilizing the energy improperly, or you're overusing this particular like energy center within your body. Like my third eye chakra is an overactivity, and that results in epilepsy and things of that nature, which is also cause of an imbalance of like the third chakra. So there's different like linkages, and the more I started to like meditate and do yoga and like focus on that, I was going a year and a half without medications and no seizures. I was having like minor glitches here and there, but that's because like I'm always surrounded by high stress and false lights and just fake shit, you know, and it's just like I can't feel that. So naturally, I love, like, I feel and I like to love, and I love to like feel that being reciprocated. But so that's like a lot of energy expended, not a lot coming back, or like a different kind of energy is being received by a human being, and it can't be properly translated. through those energy systems, so they naturally have to adapt to what they receive the most, which again, nutrition is important. Like what you surround yourself with is important, because you will eventually adapt to that. So yeah, that's kind of like what kind of really led me on that path. And then just understanding, okay, certain things vibrate on a certain level, and in order to find that balance, to find that harmony within your body, you have to understand where you are, where you naturally feel you should be, and then find out how to align it. And how can I change my lifestyle? And that's just kind of like what I'm trying to inspire, is just like self-healing. Right. I'm not not at the point where I'm like, Jesus, and I can like touch your head and then you're not blind anymore. You know what I'm saying? Right.
You got the hair like him, no, but you ain't the king.
Not yet though. Look out. Modern day Jesus, hopefully.
Gotta grow a beard out.
But for real, like we all have. Yeah, bro. Look, I was trying to, but my girlfriend wanted to cut it, and so she did.
Ain't no wrong.
But yeah, it's mainly just. I feel maybe more than a healer. I'm just like here to guide people, I guess, because I feel like I can set a pretty good example of how to go about, healing yourself, emotionally, metaphysically, physically. So yeah, because I'm doing like the nutrition, personal training, things of that nature. So it's all just kind of, my art and all that is just morphing into this creative healer type of deal. I don't know. So
yeah, I definitely get it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on.
Man.
I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you, man. This
definitely
was great.
love to have you back on
100%.
For another episode.
Absolutely.
So definitely, man. Definitely.
Absolutely.
This has been another edition of Audio Airstrike. I'm Everett Hall-McNeill for Josh. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Until next time, everybody. See you.
Namaste.